In July 2025, a handshake between two leaders sent a shockwave across the globe. On one side, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. On the other, the ambassador from Bangladesh. The deal they signed, it was about cotton. But this wasn't just any trade deal. This was a move so bold it sent French trading companies into a panic and had officials in Washington watching closely. Let me break it down. For decades, if an African country wanted to sell cotton, he had to go through European middlemen. These companies would buy it cheap, skim their profit off the top, and leave farmers with pennies. This new deal cut them out completely. Bangladesh, the world's biggest buyer of cotton, will now buy it straight from Burkina Faso. No middlemen, no colonial-era strings attached. This is what people are calling the Cotton Rebellion, a direct partnership between two nations of the global south. Today, we are diving deep into how this happened, how a young captain is starting an agricultural revolution, and what this single deal means for economic freedom across Africa and for every one of us watching from the diaspora. Let's get into it. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré, at just 34 years old, took power in 2022, a lot of Western experts wrote him off. They were wrong. Fast forward to today, Traoré slashed government salaries, told French troops to leave, and did something symbolic. He traded the fancy presidential limousine for 400 tractors and gave them directly to farmers. On TikTok, that move went viral. Young Africans celebrated it as the ultimate rejection of colonial priorities. But those tractors weren't just for show. They were weapons in a new kind of economic war. Since they hit the fields, cotton production has exploded. We're talking about a jump from around 270 kilograms per hectare to over 370, according to Burkina Faso's own cotton company, Sofitex. Even the USDA admits that their exports are climbing past 1 million bales, all while fighting off security threats. For Traoré, this is bigger than cotton. It's about power. It's about what his hero, Thomas Sankara, once said: "He who feeds you controls you." By controlling his country's cotton from the farm to the port, Traoré can now talk directly to Asia's biggest buyers. Bangladesh is first, but India, Vietnam, and Turkey are already knocking on the door. Now, let's jump over to Bangladesh. The government has a huge challenge, keeping 5 million people employed in its garment industry, especially with the threat of US tariffs and high cotton prices. So when Burkina Faso came to them with an offer, high-quality cotton at a fixed stable price, shipped directly in just 3 weeks, the numbers were too good to be ignored. A direct deal could cut their cost by about 5 cents to a pound and slash shipping time compared to buying from Brazil. For the factory owners, it's a no-brainer, but I see something bigger here. By using African cotton, Bangladesh can now market colonial-free fashion to socially conscious buyers in Europe. The internet is already eating it up. The hashtag Cotton Rebellion is trending. I'm seeing comments like, "About time the global south trade with itself and watch the old empire sweat." This move isn't just smart economics for Bangladesh, it's quiet revolution. They secured cheaper cotton, got a political win at home, and now have more power in future trade talks. One deal is shaking up a system that's been in place for 100 years. Imagine what a whole season will do. So, who is losing out in this new arrangement? The old middlemen in Paris for sure. For years, big French companies like Louis Dreyfus controlled Burkina Faso's cotton trade. They set the terms, used the CFA franc to their advantage, and kept profits that farmers back in Africa could only dream of. This new deal smashes that system. Experts estimate that if just 15% of the Sahel's cotton bypassed France, it could save them about €120 million a year in fees alone. Suddenly, you hear whispers from officials in Europe about quality control issues and transparency concerns. But the numbers don't lie. In 2024, Burkina Faso exported $335 million worth of cotton, a 25% jump from the previous year, proving they can deliver. On social media in Ouagadougou, the response is sharp. Viral TikTok videos show cotton being spun with captions like, "Why your former colonies unplugged the ATM." The reef here in Paris is what comes next. What if Niger starts selling its uranium directly to China, or Mali shipped its sesame straight to Turkey? As Burkina Faso's agriculture minister put it on TV, "We are not against trade, we are against tolls." For those who have collected tolls on Africa for a century, the door just slammed shut. Selling raw cotton is good, but the real money, the real independence comes from turning that cotton into clothes yourself. So, how do you build factories with no foreign loans from the West? Traoré's answer: you ask your own people. In a move that felt like a national GoFundMe, the citizens of Burkina Faso raised about 7.5 billion CFA francs to build Sofato, a massive tomato processing factory. They used the same model for textiles. By April 2025, a new spinning factory was funded with 82% of the shares owned by ordinary Burkinabe citizens and supporters in the diaspora. A WhatsApp voice message from a local truck driver said it all. If France would fund our factories, no problem, we do it ourselves. This isn't just about building factories, it's about building national pride, it's about ownership. Under the launch videos, the comment sections are flooded with flags from across the Sahel. This is economic growth designed by Africans for Africans. While Paris is panicking, Traoré is building alliances closer to home. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have launched the Alliance of Sahel States. Think of it as a new power bloc focused on two things: common defense and common prosperity. Western media talks about Russian influence, but what's happening on the ground is regional teamwork. AES soldiers now guard the cotton shipment heading to the port. The three countries are aligning their export taxes, and they are even talking about creating a new currency to finally replace the CFA franc. At one meeting, Niger's prime minister joked, "Gold for guns, cotton for currency. Let's weave our freedom together." And it's working. Attacks on transport convoys are down 14%. Inspired by the cotton deal, Niger is now talking to India about uranium, and Mali is talking to Turkey about Seychelles. This alliance gives the cotton rebellion real power and a unified front. If you can't stop the deal on the ground, you fight it through the internet. The West's response has shifted to narrative warfare. We are talking about an information war designed to confuse people and create doubt. A report from Good Governance Africa found thousands of Facebook pages pushing both hero worship memes and negative hit pieces, often from the same source. The funny thing is, every attempt to debunk the success just makes it more popular. A short clip of Bangladeshi workers unloading Burkinabe cotton got 5 million views because trolls kept claiming it was fake CGI. But this info war can cause real damage. A false rumor that France has frozen Burkina Faso's assets caused a 2-day panic at local banks. So how do you fight lies? With radical transparency. Traoré's government is live streaming everything from cotton audit to cargo tracking. As one YouTuber said, screenshots are the new Kalashnikovs in this info war. The cotton rebellion is being fought tweet by tweet, share by share. So, where does this all lead? For Burkina Faso, this single deal is projected to bring an extra $85 million this year, money already earmarked for more community-owned factories. For Bangladesh, it could mean saving $32 million a year by cutting out the middlemen, money that can help raise wages for its workers. But this was never just about money. It's about pride. It's about a single thread of cotton traveling from a farm in Africa to a factory in Asia, completely untouched by its old colonial rulers. Of course, the challenges are huge. Climate change, shipping logistics, and constant pushback from those who benefit from the old system. But a viral comment I saw online said it best. They said revolutions need guns. Turns out they can start with just one cotton boll. This deal, the people-funded factories, and the Sahel Alliance is all part of a new African story. The West can call it a rebellion, but from here, it looks a lot like freedom. This is Frontline Africa. If you value stories that reframe power from an African lens, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and tell us what you think in the comments. I am Ezekiel Enejeta. See you in the next one.